Hello students, today we are going to learn one of the most important topic of FI BCom Financial Accounting Semester 2 syllabus, that is consignment accounts. Under consignment account, many times students find valuation of stock, this subtopic, little difficult. Today we will try to make it very easy. Okay, so how to do valuation of closing stock? There are two steps in this process. Step 1 is proportionate non-recurring expenses. You are required to calculate proportionate non-recurring expenses. And step 2 is actually you will be calculating value of closing stock. Now, how to do this first step, proportionate non-recurring expenses? There is a formula for calculation of this proportionate non-recurring expenses. What is that formula? Total non-recurring expenses divided by number of units sent on consignment or its value multiplied by closing stock in units or its value. So if here you are taking value, then here also you have to take value. If here you are taking units, then here also you have to take units. Now, how to calculate this? How to find out this total non-recurring expenses? So there are conditions to find out this. Sometimes students they don't understand whether this particular expense is recurring or non-recurring, whether it should be considered or not considered. So today I will try to make it very clear. First of all, you have to take expenses incurred by consignor as well as expenses incurred by consignee. Now, expenses incurred by consignor or consignee, there is no differentiation between two, but you have to be very sure, you have to be very careful that you are taking only and only non-recurring expenses and not recurring expenses. Now, what do you mean by these non-recurring expenses? So, there is a consignor and consignee, and we know that consignor send goods to consignee, and for doing that sometimes consignor and sometimes consignee they keep incurring certain types of expenses so that goods can reach from the place of consignor to the place of consignee. Now, what kind of expenses those expenses can be? It can be freight, packing expenses, forwarding expenses, insurance, loading, unloading, octroi, custom duty, excise duty, and dock duty. So all these expenses are going to be incurred only once from the place of consignor to the place of consignee. For reaching the goods from the place of consignor to the place of consignee, these expenses are going to be incurred. Now, which expense will not come here? For example, selling expenses. Selling expenses, the consignor or the consignee has to keep incurring, has to keep those expenses continuously. He has to keep incurring those expenses. That's why that particular expenditure is not going to come in this non-recurring expenses. I hope the point is clear. After getting the answer of first step, you have to go to the second step, and the second step is valuation of closing stock. Now, in that, what you are going to do, you have to take closing stock in units multiplied by cost price per unit. Now, closing stock in units must be given in the problem. Sometimes it's given directly, sometimes it's given indirectly. For example, say 1000 television sets are sent for consignment sale. Out of that, 800 are sold. It means 200 is the closing stock. Okay, sometimes it's given directly, multiplied by cost price per unit. So cost price also given in the problem, plus proportionate non-recurring expenses, what we have got in the first step. That answer you're supposed to take here. Sometimes this calculation is to be done at invoice price also. At that time we have to calculate loading on it. Right now I have included only cost price calculation. I hope the this particular topic is subtopic is clear for you. I'll repeat it again. If you want, you can have a look. First step, proportionate non-recurring expenses. The formula is total non-recurring expenses divided by number of goods sent on consignment or its value multiplied by closing stock in units or closing stock's value. Now, how to calculate this total non-recurring expenses? You have to take all non-recurring expenses whether incurred by consignor or consignee. That is nothing but the total non-recurring expenses. After that, that particular answer you have to put in the first step, and then you will get proportionate non-recurring expenses. That answer you have to put in the second step. Before adding it, you have to put this thing. What is that? Closing stock in units multiplied by cost price per unit. Thank you.